First at 4, more families are grieving as the death toll rises in 2 mass shootings, and President Trump speaks out. Paula Tutman is talking to local families.
Karen, I have an interesting perspective from a local woman who has an interesting perspective that might actually change your view on what these shootings are doing to the collective psyche of our nation. I'll have a live report.
Temperatures getting a little bit hotter today. In fact, it's not going to get any hotter for the next 10, but that humidity's going up. We'll look at the changes right now, first at 4.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Grief, anger, and frustration. America confronts 2 deadly mass shootings in just 24 hours.
We'll be able to bounce back, but I don't think we'll be able to bounce back if we live in fear.
Flags half-staff at the U.S. Capitol, a moment of silence on Wall Street. President Trump looking to unite the nation.
In one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy.
Good afternoon. I'm Karen Drew. Funerals are being planned, victims are struggling to recover, and the entire country is trying to process what happened this weekend. First, a shooting rampage in El Paso, Texas that killed 22 people as of today. 13 hours later, a mass shooting in Dayton, Ohio, where 9 people died. Today, President Donald Trump addressed a stunned nation from the White House. He spoke out against racism and white supremacy.
These sinister ideologies must be defeated. Hate has no place in America.
In the 10-minute speech, the president did not address the claims that his own rhetoric may contribute to violence. He did not offer specifics on gun control legislation, but did say he is ready for bipartisan ideas.
If we are able to pass great legislation after all of these years, we will ensure that those who were attacked will not have died in vain.
The shock over the mass shootings in Texas and Ohio is now giving way to investigating the shooters and mourning the victims. Kimberly Gill following that part of the story. She joins us now live from the newsroom, and an emotional time for really the entire country.
Yeah, Karen, it really is. Good afternoon to you. When tragedies like this scale strike a community, you're right, you see people looking for ways to express their condolences and solidarity. In Dayton today, many residents acted on ways to celebrate memories of the victims. The death toll of 9 in Dayton's Oregon district could have been much, much higher because police say the gunman who was killed by fast responding officers might have had up to 250 rounds available for his rifle. Now, as to a motive, the Dayton police chief there says there's no evidence yet that race was indeed a factor, but the investigation is, of course, ongoing. Makeshift memorials sprung up today at the shooting scene in the Oregon section of Dayton. Candles and flowers and mementos were placed along sidewalks. Those who put them in place said that if they don't give in to fear, Dayton will recover from this tragedy.
But I don't think we'll be able to bounce back if we live in fear. The Oregon district has been safe always until this. And as you can see with the police response, it was a minute before they got to the shooter. Even the week before, we noticed the police presence down here, and that's why it was so safe. And I still believe that it's going to be safe.
Yeah. You know, Dayton is really close. It's only about a 3-hour drive south from Detroit on I-75, and that's close enough for Detroiters to feel the impact of the tragedy for sure. Local 4's Larry Spruill is in Dayton talking with a community that has been devastated. Larry.
We are now on day 2. 9 people lost their lives outside Ned Pepper's bar. They were shot and killed by a gunman. The emotions are high, but today's atmosphere, it's just sad.
These were just innocent people.
I'm Larry Spruill, and I spoke with one man who was leaving that bar at the time of the shooting. He tells me he heard the gunshots. I'm working on that part of the story, all new tonight at 5.
Okay, Larry, and we can't forget about in Texas, in El Paso, crosses have been placed near the shooting scene honoring the victims there. Those crosses come from Greg Zanis, who told NBC Nightly News anchor Lester Holt his nonprofit group Crosses for Losses has been to shooting scenes nationwide for the past 20 years.
How many shootings have I done? Around 21,000 shootings in America. And I remember I do everybody in Chicago and in Detroit, and just, if you want to rattle off a few, there was a shooting in Virginia Beach. I did that. There was a shooting in Newtown where 26 kids were murdered. There's another shooting at Parkland, Florida.
Yeah, and Karen, no matter where you're from, the impact of this shooting is definitely rippling across the country. We're monitoring developments in both cities. We'll have new updates, including that report from Larry Spruill. That's coming up on Local 4 News at 5. Until then, we'll send it back to you.
All right, we'll see you at 5. Thank you, Kim. Well, sadly, America has seen mass shootings before, but the 1-2 punch this weekend seems to have knocked a bigger hole in our hearts and dented our national psyche. Local 4's Paula Tutman has been talking to families who are struggling to process the events. And Paula, you actually ran into someone that we've been following for years.
Yeah, Carrie English, and she does have a very interesting perspective. Also, given the fact that the FBI, since 9/11, says that it does have its eye on al-Qaeda and international terrorism, but is also looking at HVEs, micro-focus on these homegrown violent extremists. And Carrie English says she's got her eye on that too. From her perch, this feels very, very onerous. When Carrie English got to the Water Feature Park in Warren this afternoon, the first thing she said she did was look around for escape routes.
When we go out, especially when I'm with the girls, we have to make sure we're aware of our surroundings.
She is no different from most any other parent who knows that there is no 100% safe public place. What is different about Carrie is her perspective, because right now her husband is in what's considered some of the most dangerous real estate on the planet, Iraq. But today, she believes his real estate is actually safer than hers.
Him being over there, they're ready for any attack because that's what they're over there for.
Dad, he is experienced, but an 11-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 4-year-old aren't really trained.
You know, you go into a public building, you have to wonder, is there somebody here that intends to harm the people?
When we first met the Englishes in 2016, Mark had deployed to Africa and came home to surprise his young children. Last year, we were with the Englishes as Mark redeployed, this time to Iraq.
Trying to make the world a better place. Right. Protecting them from the harms that are overseas.
Here's the irony. Mark is in a land where war is being physically fought on that soil, and the families who leave their homes in Fallujah have the same concerns as the families leaving their homes in Fraser.
Are they wondering the same things when they're going to their mosques?
How shocking is that for you?
Incredible.
Today, as Mark puts himself on the front line of danger for his family and his country, even his 11-year-old daughter doesn't believe she is safe on the soil for which he fights.
I think it's like super scary because like what my mom said, when she was a child, she didn't have to worry about all that. But now we have to worry about that.
Hard to believe Sadie is only 11 years old. She speaks with such maturity. And you know what? And it made us wonder what other children are saying. So stay with us at 6 o'clock. We're going to hear how this looks to other children. Karen?
A very important perspective for sure. Thank you, Paula. And our coverage does continue tonight at 5. As we mentioned, Larry Spruill reports live from Dayton with an eyewitness account of the shooting. We'll also see where Michigan lawmakers stand on recent gun bills. And the Local 4 defenders are hard at work today. I spoke with a local expert telling me what we really need to know and how we need to change our way of thinking in public places. So we'll have that report at 5 o'clock. Now, let's take a breath, talk about the weather and the humidity. And it is starting to creep back in. Ben tells us it's not sticking around too long, though. Hey, Ben.
Yeah, Karen, our temperatures are actually going to max out today for really the entire next 10 days. But the humidity is still going up tomorrow, though. We'll look at that in a second. Mid-80s is where we're at right now. A little bit of a wind out of the west and northwest in some spots, but we're watching for live radar at least for the rest of the afternoon and evening. There's just a slight chance that we could scare up a shower or thunderstorm. Most of those are on the west side of the state and should fizzle by the time they get here. Humidity is going to be increasing tonight, though, so temperatures, even though they're falling into the 70s here by midnight, it's going to become increasingly noticeably muggy as we get towards tomorrow morning. There is relief in the forecast, and there's definitely cooler air, too. So this is the last huge feel of summer that we'll have to get through. We'll look at more of that in just a few minutes, Karen.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ben.